Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Georgie. I am so happy you've decided to join me again. Today we're going to be talking about beginners meal plans. So not somebody who has an enormous amount of debt they're trying to pay off, or somebody who's had an extreme change in life circumstances. This is just for somebody who's decided that they want to start spending less at the supermarket and take control over their grocery spending. So I was scrolling on Facebook and I came across a question that somebody asked in one of the budgeting Facebook groups that I'm in, and I thought I would really like to make a video to help this person. So the question is, good evening, please can I ask for suggestions on how to set up a grocery budget and a meal plan? We are 2 adults and 1 child, really struggling with the planning, and then I can't always buy everything that I need as my budgeting and planning doesn't work. Do you plan your groceries monthly or fortnightly depending on how you get paid? Would really appreciate any advice on how I can plan and then buy my groceries better. Thank you. Okay, so I'll answer the easiest part of that question first, and that is, for a beginner, I always recommend to budget and shop weekly. Trying to do it monthly can be extremely overwhelming. It's overwhelming to try and plan. It's overwhelming trying to figure out if you've got enough, and then often you don't have enough and you have to go back to the supermarket anyway. Fortnightly is easier, but for a beginner, just start small and start with weekly. Second part of your question, talking about your meal planning and budgeting. These are 5 steps, and at the end of these 5 steps, you should have a really solid meal plan. The first thing you need to do is determine your grocery budget. From the sounds of your question, it seems like maybe you haven't determined your budget. It's hard to know with that small amount of information, but that's the vague impression that I got. To determine your budget, you need to add up all of your incomings. That's all your income from all different sources, your income, your partner's income. Do you get child support? Do you get working for families tax credits? Add all that together, that's your incomings. Then you need to subtract your fixed expenses. These are expenses that don't change, you can't get rid of them, and they're generally the same every week or month. So that is your mortgage, your rent, your power, your debt repayments, or your savings. You should have regular savings. Everybody should have regular savings. And then once you've deducted all of that, what's left over is what you've got for your variable expenses. Your grocery budget comes under your variable expenses. There's going to be another video about that, so don't panic if you have no idea what I'm talking about. Step number 2 would be to make a master list of all your family's favorite recipes. These should be recipes that most of the people in your household like to eat and that you know how to cook. So I like to organize mine like this. So I don't know if you can see that. So I've just got the name of the recipe, the directions, and then the ingredients down this side. I really like it like that. Having the ingredients down here is really helpful for another step. And then you can put them all in a folder and you can organize them by meal type. Step number 3 is to organize your week. So there are 3 things you need to do. You need to decide which day you're going to do your budgeting and your grocery shopping on. A lot of people do that on payday. I like to just do it on Monday. I like to do all my budgeting on Sunday and then my grocery shop on Monday because it's the beginning of the week. But it's really up to you. You need to decide what days you cannot cook. So for example, in our family it's Wednesday. I can't cook on a Wednesday. We have to leave the house before 5 o'clock for the kids' activities. We don't come back until sometimes 8 or 8:30. I can't start cooking a meal then because the kids are tired, they've been doing their activities, my husband and I are starting to get stressed. We need to eat right now, or else there are going to be tears from everybody involved. So what I generally like to do is to have a meal in the freezer ready for that, so we don't start relying on takeaways. But if you don't have freezer meals, what you can do is just say you're having spaghetti and meatballs on Tuesday, cook double, and then you come home at 8 o'clock on a Wednesday and reheat those leftovers. The third thing you need to do when it comes to organising your week is, what I recommend to beginners, is to assign a theme to the individual days. This is going to help you when it actually comes to writing your meal plan. So for example, when I started, I might have had, well, I did have meat free on Mondays and pastas on Tuesday and roasters on Sunday, etc. And then when you sit down to actually write your meal plan, it saves a lot of the overwhelm, because you can just go, okay, Tuesday is pasta, I'm going to go to my folder that I talked about earlier and look at all my pasta recipes. Or even if you are feeling a little bit uninspired, if you have Mexican on Thursday, you can then just go new fajita recipes into Google, and it will give you all these wonderful new recipes that you can try. Number 4 is to start your meal plan brainstorm. So I've done a really rough one here already. All I do is I write breakfast, lunch, dinner and snacks across my regular piece of paper, and then I have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday in all the different categories, and then I write what we're going to have every single night for dinner, every single day for lunch, and for breakfast I generally just have a rough idea of things I'm going to have in the house. So I'm going to have porridge, wheat bix and cornflakes. If you want to cook a meal for breakfast, say you like having cooked breakfast at the weekend, then you'll write that in so you know you've got all the ingredients. And for snacks, what I do is at about 3:30 in the afternoon is the only time they snack. So I have to make sure that I have snacks for that, because we treat it like a meal time. So this week I'm going to make chocolate chip biscuits and carrot cake, and I'm also going to have carrot sticks available and crackers and cheese. That's how we do snacks. Part of doing your brainstorm is then making a list of everything, all the ingredients that you need to make all of that food that you've got written down. So for example, on my dinner list I've got cannelloni, so I pull my printout and I look at all the ingredients I need for cannelloni, and then I make a list of all of those things that I need. I also need things like cornflakes and wheat bix and oats, apples, bananas, oranges, because that's what I've got that we're going to be having with our breakfast and as snacks. Then you take your list that you've made to your pantry and your fridge and your freezer and your garden if you've got one, and you cross off everything that you don't need because you've already got it, also making sure that you've got enough. And then another thing you need to do, what I like to do when making my grocery list, is I have this whiteboard. It sticks to the fridge. On this side is where I write what leftovers we've got, so that's what my husband knows he needs to eat for lunch the next day, so they don't go to waste. But on this side is my shopping list, so whenever we run out of a staple, something that I have in the house all the time, that I like to have in the house all the time, it goes on the list. So I also add this stuff to the list, and then once I've crossed everything off, I write it all out on my grocery list, and this is what I take to the supermarket. Don't buy things that are not on the list. That is rule number 1 when you're actually in the supermarket. Stick to your list is the most important thing you can do to stay within your budget, is to stick on your list, because it is so easy to get distracted and attracted to all the fancy packaging and displays that are there. There's a whole industry around trying to get you to buy things that you don't need. So take your list and only buy what's on your list. Thank you for joining me today. I really hope you found some value in my video and that you now have your very first meal plan in your hot little hand. If you are the person that sent in that question, or if you're not, please let me know how you're doing and how you found this video. Please come back and join me next week, where I will be doing another Budget 101 video where we will be determining and setting up your very first budget. If you enjoy this type of content, please consider subscribing to my channel. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I hope to see you here next time.